It's time to pry the tie from the FBI. Hey friends, how you doing? Eric Ulis here. Okay, let's get straight into it. So, on February 21st, 2023, I'm going to be filing papers in the U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C., suing the FBI for the purposes of trying to obtain access or get access to D.B. Cooper's tie. I'm going to try to pry the tie from the FBI. And here is what I mean, and this is what I'm trying to accomplish here. As you all know, D.B. Cooper's tie is currently in the possession of the FBI at FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. Now, the reason I know this is because I personally saw the tie at FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. in October of 2021. Now, for several years, I've tried to obtain access to the tie working back channels through personal relationships I have in the FBI, and even recently filed a FOIA request to get access to the tie, all of which have been unsuccessful in one form or another. Now, why this is exceptionally frustrating is because all I'm asking for is that myself and one other person, a DNA specialist, have access to the tie while it's in the custody of the FBI for an hour. For an hour, that's it. And specifically, what I want to do is try to retrieve some DNA from a very specific part of the tie that I do believe likely has D.B. Cooper's DNA on it and no one else's DNA on it, and it's likely DNA that's in a usable form at this point, even 51 years later, which may well help us sequence it and actually identify precisely who D.B. Cooper was. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about here. Now, this picture on the left-hand side is of a little spindle that's actually incorporated into D.B. Cooper's tie. And yes, that is actually a picture of D.B. Cooper's tie on the left and this spindle. And on the right-hand side, you'll see the same type of spindle, the same spindle on a tie that I have that's exactly like D.B. Cooper's tie, albeit the color is different. And you can see that spindle is actually in a raised position. Now, the reason that the spindle raises or lowers is that the wearer can actually raise it or lower it, and it makes the tie knot actually appear more prominent or less prominent, whatever the wearer happens to prefer. Now, why this is important is because factoring in all the images, all the pictures I've seen of D.B. Cooper's tie, while obviously in FBI custody, as well as talking with people who have actually seen D.B. Cooper's tie, it appears to me that that little spindle has never been opened while it's been in the possession of the FBI. It's always been in that lowered, in that closed, in that locked position there. Again, why this is important is because D.B. Cooper obviously owned this tie for many years before the skyjacking of November 24, 1971. And it's reasonable to deduce that this guy at some point probably messed around with that spindle, probably expanded, protruded it up or lowered it down, trying to find exactly, what he feels comfortable with as far as that goes. Maybe he wore it in different configurations over the years. And if he actually did that, that means he would have gotten touch DNA, actual DNA on that spindle or on that metal shaft directly under the spindle head. And obviously with that spindle shaft now being lowered in a closed position, that shaft that would possess D.B. Cooper's DNA on it is secured. It's encased in this metal cylinder safely, meaning that there is no possibility for contamination, and meaning that there's a real opportunity that it could have been well preserved over the last 51 years. Importantly, if we can get our hands on it, we may actually be able to sequence it and again determine precisely who D.B. Cooper was after 51 years. It would solve the case. Now, it would seem like a simple thing that the FBI would be willing to play ball here and say, hey, sure, why not? You guys come on in, we'll give you an hour, do what you need to do, and let's see what you come up with. But they've been unwilling to do anything. So basically, I'm faced with a situation here whereby I just kind of throw out my hands and say, well, I guess that's it. The tie will just sit there in Washington, D.C. at FBI headquarters, just untouched for the next, 500 years. or I can actually try to pursue something in a legal capacity, or perhaps even in a public, public capacity. Let's say that the court of public opinion as well. So again, that's exactly what I've decided to do. On February 21st, 2023, I'll be filing papers in the U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C., trying to force the FBI to give myself and a DNA specialist access to the TIE for an hour to see if we can finally close this case. So I'll keep you up to date with that. Now, if you want to help and potentially be a part of history here, I am actually setting up a way for people who want to contribute $20, $40, $60, whatever the case may happen to be, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 DB Cooper 20s to the cause. I certainly welcome you to do that and, pitch in and help with this, because obviously this is expensive and, it's a comprehensive initiative, if you will. And I know that there are people from time to time that reach out to me that say, hey, I'd love to help. Well, here's your opportunity. Here's a way to help. Just go to my website, ericulis.com. There'll be a button there that you'll see that you can click on and you can contribute, $20 or $100, whatever you want to contribute as far as that is concerned to the effort. So that's all I have for you right now. I definitely will keep you in the loop, keep you up to speed with what's going on here. Keep an eye out on February 21st, 2023. And until next time, folks, cheers.